Cody Ceci, he's been unreal good.
I don't know, man.
On
Cody
Pittsburgh,
Ceci.
he's been good though.
I was watching their game against Boston like a couple days ago, and every time Cody Ceci touched the puck, I got so nervous. Like, he can't skate. It doesn't look like he knows where to be positioned in his defensive zone. Like, I'm gonna call him out. I think if the Penguins were to make a move, it's a right-handed defenseman. They got to get Ceci out of the lineup. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unlimited. It's been 2 weeks, but here we go. Finally, another episode. And I got a great guest with me as well today, Matthew Verkaik. Matt, first and foremost, before we jump into what we're talking about today, how are you doing? It's Easter Sunday. How's your Easter been, and how are you?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm doing good. Got lots of chocolates today, so I'm set for the next bit.
Yeah, Easter Bunny was good to you?
Yeah, Easter Bunny was good to me.
All right, perfect. I love to hear it. So yeah, Matt is a gigantic NHL fan, so it's an NHL episode. It's going to be NHL heavy. We're going to be focusing on his favorite team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Been wanting to do a Pittsburgh Penguins episode for a long, long time. I was a Penguins fan growing up. Matt's a big Penguins fan as well, so he's like the perfect guest to have on this episode. We'll be touching on some Toronto Maple Leafs later on as well. But yeah, before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment anything you want in the comment section below. And yeah, let's just get right into it. The Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm just going to start it off. Matt, how have you been enjoying watching the Penguins this year? And what are your thoughts on how they've done so far this season?
They're doing amazing. Like, honestly, I didn't expect them to be doing. I thought they were going to decline again from last year after they got kicked out from Montreal in the bubble. But yeah, they're doing great. I've watched probably about half of the games. And every night they've had the first half of the season was a little, there's some bad moments, but now everything's gelling and they just got to recover from their injuries. And considering all the injuries they've had and how well they're doing right now, they've made their way up to almost first in the East Division.
Yeah.
Going for that spot. So considering all the injuries, I'm really happy with how they've played.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy because I think, heading into this season, most general NHL fans would say the Penguins are going to decline. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, potentially, especially with Boston in their division. They're going to take their spot. Then you got, the Capitals and the Islanders who are going to be locks for the playoffs. And then you got the Rangers, the Devils,
Flyers too.
The Flyers. Yeah, nobody's talking about the Flyers. Well, they haven't had a great season at all, and it looks like they're going to miss the playoffs. But yeah, people would say they could finish even first in the division.
Right?
Carter Hart, Vezina caliber. That's definitely not the case this year with him. But yeah, you're right. I think, the injuries have been a tough spot for them, and they've been dealing with a lot of them, especially now with Malkin being out on LTIR. Doesn't look like he's going to be back soon. He can be eligible to return on April 11th, but I don't know if that's going to hold up because it sounds like it's a little bit more serious. But what do you think is the ideal outcome, I guess, for this season for the Penguins? Do you think they, win around? Do they have the caliber of the team to win the cup?
That's
seriously,
what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Honestly, okay. I've without, obviously I'm a little biased, but I'd say that I would consider them a serious dark horse cup team.
Really?
Okay. To win the cup. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see them as a dark horse. Not many people are talking about them. Even right now, people are more focused on the Capitals or some teams in the Western Conference, the Avalanche are the favorites to win. Or even the Leafs. People are saying the Leafs could win the cup. But yeah, the Penguins are, in that mix of teams that can definitely make some noise in the playoffs. But if you look at a first round potential opponent right now, the Penguins are in third in their division. They'll be facing the Islanders in round one. That's a tough series right away. So, I mean, it's going to be really challenging to even make it out of those 2 rounds within their East Division rivals, but you think they can pull out of that and beat teams like the Caps and the Isles?
Yeah, like the season series against the Islanders have been in Pittsburgh's favor from what I've watched. Maybe there were a couple games at the beginning of the year I missed that the Islanders won, but like Pittsburgh's been doing really well against the Islanders, and yeah, I don't know. I think they can beat the Capitals. Ovechkin's not having a great year. Obviously, the Capitals are doing great, but also I think Pittsburgh's goaltending is just really underrated as well. Because you had Matt Murray come in, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and people are probably like, "Who are these 2 new guys?" But both of Pittsburgh's goalies have contributed so much this season, and they're both really doing a good job. So I don't know. I think with their good goaltending, and I think they can beat the Islanders. I think they can beat the Caps, and I don't know. There'd be good series, but
Yeah, who knows from there? But no, you're right. Like the goaltending has definitely been underestimated for sure. And, losing Matt Murray in the off season, I think, Pittsburgh fans were okay with having Jari as the starter because we saw what he could do last year and the potential that he had. And he had a good season and he's still a young guy. So he's going to get better anyways. But then Casey DeSmith has come out of nowhere and has
yeah,
just been unreal. I think his save percentage is around 920 so far this
yeah.
season.
I think it might be higher than that. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, he's been a terrific pickup in like my fantasy hockey league as well. Are you doing fantasy this year?
I am doing fantasy. Yeah,
Okay.
a
Yeah.
cheap little league. I put in like $10, but
Yeah, something like that for my league as well. Not the most serious thing, but yeah, Casey DeSmith has been terrific, and I mean, I don't see him at any point. I mean, it's tough to say, but I don't think he'll take the starting role from Jari, but he has been terrific. If it does go downhill for Jari, closer to playoff time, or if he loses a couple of games in a row around playoff time, they can go to DeSmith and he can come in and win them a game.
it
So
seems to be a pattern in Pittsburgh. Just goalies coming and going
goalie
lately,
tandems.
goalie
Yeah.
tandems. So we'll see. Like, who knows? Maybe Jerry will start the playoffs, and then DeSmith will have to come in like Marion Fleury back in 2016, but
Yeah.
or 2017 too.
Yeah. And I do want to get into, some of those cup runs that the Penguins had and just their overall like identity as a franchise. But I guess before we get into that, just finishing off on this year, like I want to know what you think needs to be improved upon at the trade deadline in order for them to, make a long playoff run. Do you think there needs to be any significant upgrades, or do you like this team the way it is?
I really like this team this year. It's like the depth that Pittsburgh has, especially for their forward group. Um, I think like they can score so many goals, and they have been recently. Like they're proving that, especially with all their injuries. So I really like the Pittsburgh team right now. But I mean, I guess there's always a player you can pick up if you're trying to push for the playoffs. Like if there's someone available and they could fit on the roster without taking someone important like out of a spot, then I could see Pittsburgh picking up someone. But defense wise, I think rumors have it Pedersen might be going. I don't know, but um,
I don't mind him.
he's okay. He's not exactly big point production, but like he
No,
gets the job done. Um,
he's
John
good
Marino's been
defensively.
great.
John
John
Marino's
Marino,
amazing.
Mike Matheson, great pickup.
Yep.
Cody Ceci, he's been unreal.
I don't know, man.
On
Cody
Pittsburgh,
Ceci.
he's been good though.
I was watching their game against Boston like a couple days ago, and every time Cody Ceci touched the puck, I got so nervous. Like he can't skate. It doesn't look like he knows where to be positioned in his defensive zone. Like I'm gonna call him out. I think if the Penguins were to make a move, it's a right-handed defenseman. They got to
Or
get CC
Ceci.
out of the lineup. Yeah, I think so. Like they're not going to be able to trade CC away and get someone back. They'll have to like keep him or just add him as a throw into the deal. But I think like I look at Pittsburgh and like I agree with you. The depth that they have is ridiculous. And we're gonna jump into like how they actually like find these players and stuff like that. Because I don't know, like Sam Lafferty, like he's been a huge pickup for them. They just called up some other guys that have been contributing and scoring goals. Teddy Bluger, Zach Aston Reese, just depth guys that have really come into their own this year. Brandon Tanev was a great pickup a couple of years ago.
Oh, Tanev's doing unreal.
Yeah,
That guy, he like doesn't stop skating. Like he
no,
just
he's a workhorse.
he's a Zach Hyman. That's what I'd say he is.
Yeah, and he's going to be perfect for the playoffs too. Like forecheck, speed. That's all what the playoffs is about, and he gets a lot of hits as well. So yeah, I think the Penguins do have a ton of depth. I think right now, and just the way that like the team is with Malkin on IR and the center depth kind of looking a little bit thin. Like right now they have Jared McCann as the second line center, and I think McCann is a top 6 / top 9 player. Maybe
Yeah.
not a center though, maybe a winger.
Yeah.
So if Malkin's injury is like really serious, they got to look at getting a center, because a 1-2-3 of Crosby, McCann, and I
Their third line
think
center
it's
is Teddy Bluger, but he's injured right
right.
now as well. So
And
we're
then
waiting on him.
exactly, and then after that, it's like Freddie Gaudreau and Mark Jankowski, and I like Jankowski too. I think
Great
he's
fourth line.
Yeah, exactly. He's been great on the fourth line. Good pickup from Calgary. But I think, like I said, if Malkin is going to be out for a little bit more time, and he might be out for maybe the first round of the playoffs, it probably won't stretch that too long. But just knowing that there is an injury with Malkin definitely concerns me a little bit, and you might want to add like a center. And looking back at that 2016, 2017, they had Nick Bonino there, who was a guy who could step into the top 6 when one of the guys got hurt up front. I think that they're lacking a little bit of depth at center. And other than Cody Ceci, I think they're fine. I think it's just the center depth and Cody Ceci. But do you agree? Do you think that maybe they can look at adding a center?
Yeah, I'm not sure like the seriousness of Malkin's injury, but if he's not going to be back to the playoffs or around then definitely picking up just a depth center would be a good pickup.
Yeah, exactly.
But when they're all healthy, like Crosby, Malkin, Bluger, Jankowski, like those 4 centers rolling are all good. Like I think Bluger's the perfect third line center, and he's like only gonna get better.
Yeah. And like other depth players that they have, like Evan Rodriguez, who is a guy that they traded away. He was on the Leafs for like a second, and then the Penguins got him back. I think, he's been a great job of stepping in no matter where they play him into the lineup. He can play on the first line with Crosby, or he can drop down to the fourth line and play with Jankowski. Anthony Angelo is another guy that's stepped in and like been an above average fourth liner. Like, I don't know how the Penguins find these players, but for some reason they're just able to develop these, young players and bring them in, and they can play well under Mike Sullivan. So let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the Penguins' identity. And there's no real answer to this, but in your opinion, how do you think they've managed to like stay so consistent from a year-to-year basis and been able to make the playoffs for, so many years in a row?
Well, I think that there's like a couple different reasons, but first off, Crosby, okay, and Malkin.
Yep.
And the Tang, we'll just say the big 3. Goaltending has been solid. All right, we had Fleury. Murray was solid in the playoffs, and then I believe his dad passed away, and then he had a poor season, and he just didn't seem to recover from there back to himself. But goaltending has been great, and then like you said, just how they're getting these depth players like from the farm teams, developing them slowly through like Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and just like getting players that can play anywhere in the lineup, especially with Crosby, especially in third and fourth minutes. So, and just, I don't know, coaching too. Coaching's been good. Mike Sullivan, first 2 years, first 2 cups, can't complain.
2 for 2. Exactly. And even before him, like Dan Bylsma had a good run at it until like the later years where he just could get them past like the first round, and ultimately got fired. But he was good. He won the cup with them in 2009. And then as soon as Sullivan came, 2 cups in a row. And even though the Penguins haven't had the playoff success like they had in 2016, 2017, like second round lost to Washington in 2018. That was a hard fought series. They pushed it to 6 games. If they win that series, you never know. Like maybe that's another Stanley Cup final. I'm not going to say three-peat. I think that's crazy, but maybe they make it to the cup final. And that they would play Vegas, actually. That would be an insane Stanley Cup final.
Fleury going against
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Wow, that'd be crazy.
And you never know what could have happened in that series. Maybe the Penguins do win and they win 3 in a row. But if it wasn't for Kuznetsov in overtime in that 6th game, crusher. I was watching that game. That was just rough. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I think ever since, I don't know if they had the same level of prospects in the AHL when Ray Shero was the GM. I think ever since Jim Rutherford took over, there's just been
a different kind of vibe to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
like kind of a new identity.
Yeah, and Rutherford's gone now. He stepped out, or he stepped down from the role. I don't think he was fired. He like parted ways with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, ever since he was there, they've just been able to find these gems. And I don't know if it was really through the draft necessarily, but they've done a good job of bringing in guys from the States, young players, developing them in their AHL system and bringing them up. Zach Aston Reese, I believe he was a Hobie Baker winner.
Yeah, he was played NCAA, right?
Yeah, he was good. John Marino as well played in the States, bringing him over. So, and I also think like it might not just be the players. I feel like it has something to do with the playing style that Mike Sullivan has gotten them to play. And the Penguins' identity now, and I don't know if this is a bit of a hot take or not, but I think the Penguins' identity is the most established identity in the National Hockey League. You can put any players on the Pittsburgh Penguins and they can win you a game just because of the playing style that they play. And I don't know if we've seen an identity like that in a long, long time. Like, there's so many teams around the league that can just shift playing styles every game and not stay consistent with it. But you look at the Penguins, like, what do you think of? Speed, determination, getting in on the forecheck, and a lethal power play and the star power. But most importantly, it is speed. You think of the Penguins, it's speed, full force coming at you. And Mike Sullivan has really established that since taking over.
That's what won the 2 cups, 100%.
Exactly. Carl Hagelin, they brought in,
Phil Kessel's fast, man.
Phil Kessel's fast. Yeah, can't underestimate Phil the Thrill. Yeah, they had some other speedy players on that team. Brian Rust, Connor Sherry. Sherry.
Sherry.
Sherry. We found out about that name change like a year later, or the pronunciation, like a year after he scored all the big goals. So I think, even now with Lafferty and Aston Reese, and they still have Rust, but all these guys that have come in from the AHL system, they're just fast. And that's why they can play so well under Mike Sullivan. And that's why they can still win a lot of games. Like, if you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins on paper, you see Crosby, you see Malkin, you see Gensel, and you expect like this team to be, pretty elite. But then you look at like the bottom 6, there's not really too many names that stand out to you. But they've won like 23 games so far this season. They're fighting for first place in their division, and you're wondering like how. And I don't know what it is. I think it's the playing style. I think just the speed that they're able to generate.
That's the thing. And you know what? It brings up the next question. Like, will Crosby and Malkin be able to win another cup? I don't know if that was actually the next question, but
it wasn't the next question, but yeah, that's a great transition. Let's go to it now.
Because like if they can keep this system going where they're getting these fast players and they can just use Crosby and Malkin in the Tang even as long as they can, as many years as they can get out of them, I think they can bring home at least one more. I'd love to see Crosby get one more in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Let's jump fully into this because I think this is like the biggest talking point of the podcast. Like Crosby and Malkin, where's their career going to go from here? Do the Penguins ever trade them? Do they win another cup? Do they just, do they miss the playoffs at all in their era? That would be quite something if they just don't miss the playoffs at all in the Crosby and Malkin era. So yeah, I think where I'm at, like you can definitely build around Crosby and Malkin, and obviously their playing styles are terrific. They're two of the most elite players in the world. But another thing is the money that they make and the contract situation. Crosby has set the Penguins up really nicely, taking an 8.7 mil a year deal. This guy is one of the best players in the world. Technically, he could be making like 12 mil a year if he really wanted to. The Penguins would give that to him, but he's a nice guy. He understands that there has to be more players around him in order to win. So he's going to take winning a cup over making money. And then same with Malkin, I guess, like 9.5 mil is a little bit more, but at the time he signed it, that was, pretty fair. And looking back on it now, it's still a pretty good contract with, guys on the Leafs. I don't have to look too far, making a lot more money than they should be. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that the Penguins can win another Stanley Cup with Crosby and Malkin?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
110%. Yeah.
Do you think they can win this year? So,
I mean, I hope, but
yeah.
I think they could win this year. And you know what? This year might be even the best year they have to do it. Like if you think about it, Crosby's just getting older. Like maybe this is potentially the best year, and it'll only slightly get worse. We'll see, but yeah.
It's
Gretzky's got 4. I want Crosby at least to tie Gretzky.
Gretzky's got 4. Yeah, I think he could do it. I really do. I think just the players that are even playing with Crosby right now, like you look at Gensel and Rust and Crosby, that's just a dominant line. And if you get hot at the right time in the playoffs, like you can definitely pull it off. So I think there's definitely a chance that they still win another cup in Pittsburgh. And that's the other point to this question. Like, can they win another cup? Like they could win another cup somewhere else, but in Pittsburgh is a different story. I don't see them getting traded. And I honestly just don't see a reason why the Penguins would have to do it either. Because like at this point in their careers, like you're not going to be able to get like a big package in return. I don't think, at least.
Yeah.
Especially
like
for
you might
Malkin.
be able to get like a couple first round picks or like maybe one.
Yeah.
A decent player for Malkin, but
well, Malkin's a little bit different because I think Malkin is slowing down a little bit. This year he hasn't been the most productive. But then again, it might just be because he's been banged up a little bit. He's been injured. But $9.5 million for a guy who I believe he's 34 or 35 years old.
34, I think.
34. I think, a team might not be willing to pay too much for him. But you would still be able to get at least a first. Crosby, yeah, if the Penguins trade Crosby now, yeah, you get 2 firsts for sure, especially if you trade him to a contender that's going to win in the next couple of years. Like maybe you could get 2 firsts and like a high level prospect it's Sidney Crosby. You're going to get a big deal back. But I think as they age and like the Penguins aren't going to trade them in the next like 2-3 years, at least. I don't think so, because they're still going to be in contention, right? Like why would you trade them if you're still trying to win a cup at the same time? So I think down the road, it just wouldn't really make sense to trade them at like 37, 38 years old when you're not really going to get too much back. And you're also like, I don't think Crosby would even want to leave. I don't know if Malkin would want to leave that much. And you're kind of jeopardizing the legacy that they left on Pittsburgh. So do you think that if they were to leave, it would kind of change what people, maybe not what people think about them, but ruin their legacy a little bit if they were to leave and go to another team?
I mean, I would definitely feel a little Yeah, like if I saw Crosby or Malkin in a different jersey, like that would be a little heartbreaking. Like, but I think Crosby's like gonna retire a Penguin for
Yeah,
sure. I don't see him like he could definitely sign a cheaper contract at any time just to retire a Penguin,
that's
whatever
true.
it is.
So
But
like you mean like if he does get traded and then come back and retire as a Penguin? Or
no, like
oh
I just don't see him getting traded.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they would do that.
Yeah. I don't see it either. Like you would obviously have to ask permission, I think, to both of them, Crosby or Malkin, or you can even put Letang in that category as well. Like we're only gonna trade you if you want to leave. Like if you really want to stay, we're gonna keep you no matter how good the return is. Just because you guys have done so much for our franchise, like we don't want to ruin anything. Like the worst case scenario would be like they trade away one of the big three, and then after they retire, you hear like some bad talking coming out from one of the three saying like I didn't want to leave and they still traded me, or you hear like some bad talk about the Penguins organization. I don't think the Penguins would ever want to risk having a bad reputation with one of their star players.
Yeah.
Um, so you gotta keep them happy, even though you are considering trading them. But I just don't think they would. Um, so how many cups are we talking if they were to stay? Just the one, or could they finish with 5 in total in their
5,
career?
wow. 5 would be legendary for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like it's definitely possible. Like any year, a team with Crosby and Malkin could win the cup. But I, my opinion, like it's gonna be tough to still win one. Like it is tough to win the cup. Um, but I could definitely see them doing it. I think it will have to be soon though. Like it's gonna have to be real soon because these guys are getting older. So, um, and this year as well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. They have a really good team. They do. There's just so many other good teams as well. It's tough to say. I don't have
yeah.
the same like vibe as I did in 2016, 27, or confidence, I guess. I didn't have the same confidence in this team than I did back then. Um, like Jason Zucker is basically replacing Phil Kessel, kind of.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna bring up earlier because you mentioned Nick Bonino and like Pittsburgh had Phil
Yeah,
Kessel with him on their third line. So you got Crosby, Malkin, Kessel spread out on 3 lines, which was just dangerous.
yeah.
But like if Pittsburgh is to go for I'm kind of off topic, but if Pittsburgh is to go for another like multiple cups with Crosby and Malkin and the Tang, I think they need one more guy like they did with Kessel.
Okay.
Like, like another big piece that can bring a lot to the team, whether it's defenseman or forward, I don't know, but
Can Jake Gensel be that guy? Can you move Jake
he
Gensel
kind of
to the
already
third
is.
line? Yeah, but like move him off the Crosby line and like dominate on his own if you move him down
Mm,
to the third line, like Kessel did. And that would obviously give them so much more balance into their lineup. But I guess the question is, do you think Gensel like is there yet to like carry his own line?
I just don't know if that's a hard question. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's like his player type almost, um like he's a scorer. He's just gonna put in goals and uh I think he just puts in more with Crosby and I think right now it just makes sense, but um yeah, I think he could be on his third line. I think he could probably do fine down there, but he needs top line minutes, I think, and just like
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree
like
with
that
that too.
shot.
Yeah, Crosby playing with him, that's kind of, that duo has been terrific for them. And if you take that duo apart, then it might not work out. Um, I don't know. I feel like I do agree with you though. I think if they were to like win even maybe another cup, there still has to be a key piece that comes in and kind of takes a little bit of weight off Crosby and Malkin's shoulders and just solidifies a little bit more depth. I don't think it will be a defenseman. I really like their defensive core. Letang, Dumoulin, Marino, Matheson's been huge. Some other guys have been key that have stepped up, except for Cody Ceci. And then their goaltending situation is, I honestly, do you think their goaltending situation is Stanley Cup caliber? Like it, I know it is tough to say. Like Murray and Fleury is a high standard, but
Murray and Fleury is very high standard.
Yeah.
And I really gassed them up earlier, Casey DeSmith and Tristan Jarry, but I think the two of them, like with Crosby, Malkin, Letang, like a great team, I think they could win a cup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Like if DeSmith does take over Jarry or like over the next year, like we'll see. Because they're both young and we really don't know like their potential. I mean, they're both starters, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we don't know. And like for the goalie situation, like that's gonna, like goalies are always a pivotal part in winning the cup. You need to get a goalie hot at the right time in order to win. And Jarry and DeSmith, I don't think they're gonna be leaving for a while. So they kind of have to be the tandem to win a Stanley Cup with this group, because like it's gonna be tough to bring in someone else, I guess, or it's tough for me to see them leaving right now, especially since they've played so well. Unless you bring in like a Frederick Anderson in the offseason, if the Leafs don't re-sign him. But he's going to cost a lot of money and stuff. I think the contract situation is really nice with Jarry and DeSmith set up. DeSmith is making like nothing. And Jarry's making like a couple mil. So
I'm not sure. How much is DeSmith? Like
I think it's like 1 mil or like $920K.
Whew.
Yeah, he's pretty cheap, but that's before he's done great this year. So he could use a payday. I don't know when his contract is up, but like you said, he was a starter. So another team could maybe get after him then.
Maybe the Leafs.
Maybe the Leafs. Yeah, that, you know what? That's a good transition, because we are going to talk some Toronto Maple Leafs. But first, anything else you want to talk about the Penguins? Predictions for the future, anything at all?
I guess we covered pretty much everything, but I just hope, I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with you. I have pretty good confidence with this team. From what I've seen so far, and like the East Division is tough, so like they are doing well, and I think they are a little underrated right now, behind some of the bigger teams, I guess. But
I agree with those points. Yeah, and I think like as we're shooting this, they're only 3 points out of first place in the division, so they can snag that. And then you never know, home ice throughout could be beneficial. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the Penguins, and it's going to be an exciting end to the season for sure. And if they can make it past the second round, then who knows? Maybe we see another cup in the Crosby Malkin era. But yeah, that was some good discussion on the Pens. But let's move on to the Leafs. Kind of the same thing for them. Just how have you been watching much of the Leafs, or I guess no, more Penguin stuff?
More Penguins, but I've caught maybe like 3 or 4 Leafs games this year. So
okay.
But well, like I don't know, I check the scores and stuff. So
yeah, you know the team. So first place in the North Division, but I mean, you don't really have to be watching the Leafs to kind of know what's up with them. Like everybody knows, you know, the struggles that they've had in the playoffs in the past years, and the struggles Leafs Nation has dealt with, you know, for the past 50 plus years. So they've looked okay this year. You know, first place isn't too bad, but they're just hanging on by a thread. Jets are, you know, on their tail. But their offense has been great. I've liked the veteran presences that have been brought in to kind of mesh with the young guys. The defensive core has looked real good. Question mark in net though. Anderson is out right now.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, Freddie's out right now. He's dealing with, I don't know what it is, but apparently he's been dealing with it for like the whole season. But he's just been put on IR right now. Jack Campbell is 8-0
Yeah, I've
as
seen
the
that.
Leafs goalie. He's been phenomenal. And Michael Hutchison, he's actually starting tonight, I believe. And like he's not the greatest, so I'm not too happy if Anderson will be out a long time. But the one thing with this is, if Anderson is out for a while, the Leafs can put him on LTIR, and that will put him put his salary eligible to not count against the cap. So that clears up like $5 million of cap space for them to make a move at the deadline.
Huge.
And what could that deadline move be? We got to talk Taylor Hall. Like,
I've been thinking about the possibility of Taylor Hall, and that
yeah,
would be unreal. That top six.
the top six is already nasty, but yeah,
It already is.
bringing him in would just be lethal. Yeah, so you think it's a green light for the Leafs to get Taylor Hall? Like, there will have to be some some really tough moves, I guess. If they want to bring him in, guys are going to have to leave. Maybe a top prospect, and also the money is going to have to work itself out if they want to bring in a guy who's making, I think it's $8 million a year for Hall right now. So if Freddie doesn't go on IR, then Buffalo is probably going to have to retain 50% of it. And then the Leafs are going to have to make up $4 million somehow, some way. But overall, do you think it's just a positive bringing this guy in, Taylor Hall? It's not going to hurt them?
I don't know. He's got what, 2 goals? How many goals does he have? 2 or
Yeah, you
something?
know what? I don't think I've seen a goal actually this year from him, so I can't really say. But yeah, around 2 goals, that's not good at all.
No. But it's Taylor Hall at the end of the day. He won the MVP, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So I think with Leafs, with Taylor Hall in their lineup, like with what they got right now, if they don't have to sacrifice anyone on their active roster or anyone important, like who could you imagine, like Carefoot or like?
It would have to be Kerfoot just because he's making $3.5 million and he's on the third line. It just makes sense to trade him. It's kind of like a Janssen or a Kapanen, which we didn't even
Yeah.
talk about Kapanen in the
Oh
Penguins.
yeah, we didn't even talk about Kapanen. It's because he's been injured. Oh man.
Yeah, no, he's been a good addition too, and speed, right? That's just the whole Jim Rutherford's mindset, speed.
Perfect
So
pickup.
exactly. But yeah, it would have to be Kerfoot going back in a Hall trade. Probably Pierre Engvall as well, who's making I think 1.2 mil. Just to make the money situation work, he'll have to go back, and then probably a first round pick and maybe a prospect. But at the same time, I think Buffalo is just in a bad situation and their ownership doesn't really know what they're doing. Maybe the Leafs could just, not have to give up a prospect at all in that deal and get Hall. Because Buffalo is going to lose Hall anyways. He's a free agent at the end of the year. So they kind of just want to move on from him. But do you think forward is kind of the way that the Leafs need to go at the deadline, like adding a forward or adding a defenseman or maybe even a goalie? Well, what do you think is like their key position of need?
I would just say like I haven't really just since I haven't really watched them, I don't really know. Like I know they've been struggling. They haven't been able to beat the Oilers, right? Is that what's going on, or they've just been doing poorly overall?
Yeah, that you're right. They've kind of been like 500, I think, with the Oilers, or maybe a
Okay.
bit over 500. They've handled most teams pretty good, except for the Senators. Actually, Senators
Oh,
have
interesting.
kind of. I think they've lost 2 games against the Sens, but other than that, they've looked good. But yeah, like I guess I think it's got to be. It's tough to say. Like their defensive core has been better than I expected them to be. Like they got Riley, Brody, Muzzin, Hall, and then Bogosian and Dermott on the bottom pair, which is pretty solid. I think it's more of a defensive, grounded defensive core than in years past. But I really like Bogosian. Justin Hall has stepped up big time. I don't really think they need to look too much into their defensive core unless it is an upgrade over Dermott. But then he would probably have to go out the door in that trade as well. So I don't know if the Leafs want to lose a young player like him. Goalies, I think you kind of have to be set with Freddie, Campbell, and Hutchison unless you find out that Anderson like might not even come back this year, and then you have to get a goalie. Like, even though Jack Campbell has been 8-0, you can't risk him getting injured and having Michael Hutchison in net for most of your playoff games. So if Freddie's not coming back, goalie is priority. But other than that, forward.
Taylor Hall.
And I'm gonna say no to Taylor Hall.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna say no to him just because I don't know if he really like. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's Taylor Hall. It's gonna be a positive impact no matter what if you can get him offense. But I don't think the Leafs really need to like throw everything in the basket for Taylor Hall, who's just basically known for his offense. He's not going to provide much help defensively in his own zone. He's not a physical presence at all, which is what wins you games in the playoffs. So, there's a lot of pros to Taylor Hall, but there's also, a lot of cons. He doesn't really play the playoff style game. And Leafs Nation probably doesn't like to hear that. They're all hyped up. They want Taylor Hall, the big name. But at the same time, there is some downside to it, and you might want to look at some other players. But there's not too many like I don't know if you've heard like Kyle Palmieri. He's a name that the Leafs have been linked to. I think the Penguins may even be linked to him as well. He's been sitting out. I think he's sitting out tonight's game. So they are going to trade him, the Devils.
Mm-hmm.
He's not necessarily the biggest physical guy as well, but more so than Taylor Hall, I would say. And he can also put the puck in the back of the net. There's Andrew Mangiapane on the Calgary Flames. Strong defensive guy, great on the penalty kill. I think I would really love the Leafs to get him, maybe even a bit more so than Hall, to be honest. Like,
I mean, the thing is with Hall is it's 1 year, like he's just gonna play for the playoffs.
Like David Price, just coming in at the deadline and just dominating. So, yeah, I think the possibility to get Hall is actually like not too far fetched. I think they can definitely pull it off. I just don't think that it's exactly what we need, Not
a good fit.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the best fit, but then again, it's Taylor Hall, and if he meshes with Tavares and Nylander, then like it's gonna be great.
That's the thing, like just the possibility of it. It could be a wow factor, like Taylor Hall on the Leafs, but
or even drop him down to the third line, and then you have like what the Penguins had, Matthews, Tavares, Hall. Maybe it could happen. It could happen. Before we get into some really exciting stuff, I just want to know some playoff predictions from you. Eastern Conference final predictions and Western Conference final predictions, and then I guess just who wins the cup or who makes the cup final and who wins. What do you got? You got any predictions written down?
I do not, and
You're
I
not?
haven't really thought about it, to be honest. But
okay.
I'd say in the West, I'd probably go with the Avs and maybe Vegas.
Right. Okay. Favorites.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the East, this is where it gets interesting. But I mean, like if Pittsburgh's healthy, I want to put Pittsburgh in the third round. I want to put Pittsburgh in the third round.
Right.
Who they're playing against? I don't know. Caps, Leafs. Actually, they can't play the Caps. Yeah, you can't play the Caps. What am I saying?
Leafs. Yeah, okay. Do it. Let's go. I want to see that. Leafs, Penguins. That's going to be a tough one for me.
I'd be happy with either winning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, same. Well, actually, no. I'd be crushed if the Leafs lost in the third round.
Oh, true.
Probably more so than the Penguins. I'll be cheering for the Leafs in that series for sure. But I could see that. So I guess, I'll just save you from doing this debate. Penguins make it to the final and
Win the cup.
they win the cup. Who do they beat in the cup final? Is it Vegas? Like bringing it all the way back to the beginning of the podcast where we talked about Fleury. You think it's Vegas, Pittsburgh then? That's your prediction?
I think I'd probably take the Avs.
Okay.
Just from what I've seen, some of the highlights and stuff. And they got so many players: Rantanen, Landeskog, McKinnon, Makar, and I don't know. I definitely think that would be cool too, having Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, two Halifax guys. They're like close friends and stuff, so that'd be interesting. But
yeah, and I'm not even sure like the way the divisions are working this year. So there might not even be a chance that the Penguins play the Leafs in the conference final, but they might play in the cup final. They might play against each other in the cup final. I think there's a chance of that. The NHL playoff bracket is so confusing right now. I'm not sure. They'll probably, give us a clear picture like closer to playoff time. But I think there's a possibility because I remember talking about it like earlier on in the season. The Leafs could have played Boston in the cup final.
Whoa.
Yeah.
If they lost.
Imagine them go to game 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess just ignoring whatever the playoff bracket is, like it's tough to go against. I'm not going to say the Penguins. Just because let's change it up a little bit. And I don't want to say the Leafs either because I just don't want to set myself up for disappointment. I'm going to say Montreal. Montreal makes the conference final. They come out of the North Division. And I'll say that they play the next one's tough because I don't even know like the division setup. So I can't, it's tough to say, but I'll go Washington, Montreal in the Eastern Conference final or whatever conference final it is.
Whatever
and
it's called.
And then in the other one, I'll go with Vegas just because I think they're a better defensive team than Colorado, and that will benefit them if they play each other. And then looking at some other teams, who else could it be? I feel like Tampa is a possibility, but just because I think the divisions are messed up, I think Tampa could play in that like other side of the conference because they're also in the Nashville division and the Chicago division.
Yeah. Same with Columbus too.
Yeah. So I will say Tampa. I'll say Tampa and Vegas, Washington, Montreal. I will say Vegas beats Tampa, Montreal beats Washington, and I'm going to say the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
That is my prediction. I said it as a hot take on the big league like a couple weeks ago, and it would be quite something if that happened. But I think they have a really good team, and I think they could do it. Do you think Montreal has any chance at winning the cup?
I mean, they do have a good team, and like they've been playing pretty good. That'd be crazy, but it'd be nice just to see a Canadian team win. So
yeah, I think if there was a Canadian team to ever win the cup in the coming years, it would be this year, just because they have a great shot at it. First 2 rounds of the playoffs, right? They're playing against each other. One of the Canadian teams will make the 3rd round. I think it will come down to either the Leafs or the Canadiens, though. I don't really know if it will be another team. Could you see like Edmonton or Winnipeg making it?
That's the thing. I haven't watched much, but I don't know. Do you think McDavid can get out of the 2nd round?
He'd have to do it himself. And he could do it if he wants. He's that good. But I'm not sure. So yeah. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. It's going to be an exciting finish to this NHL season. We got some bigger stuff to talk about now, and joining us in the matter of seconds. You guys know him. He's been a big part of the podcast for Perfect timing. Omar Mustafa, how are you doing today, Omar?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing good. We've been recording for like the past 50 minutes. We're just continuing this thing right now. And I don't really know where to go from here. This is where I'm going to hand it off to Matt, I think, because he's got some explaining to do. He's been working on something big. And Matt, I want you to tell the viewers what you got going on.
For sure. Could I share my screen?
Oh, sure. Definitely. Let's see if I can make
it says disabled.
Make you
Omar, I'll hand it off
co-host
to you for now.
Well, what did I miss first? What have you guys been talking about so far?
Oh, we've been talking about some sports, some Pittsburgh Penguins, some Toronto Maple Leafs. Matt's had some really good opinions on that stuff. So,
all right.
Yes.
And
Matt is the host now.
I'm the host of Unlimited.
Yes, you are.
You're
Take it away.
over.
I'm sitting back now.
Unlimited with Matthew Verkaik.
Okay, so basically, I've been with Omar's help. That's why he's here. Why are you shaking your head?
It was mostly you. I just came in to just cheer you on, pretty much.
I've started making my first video game. I've been learning programming for the past 4 months. I mostly just learned from YouTube videos and Google searches, but yeah. So I'll show what we got.
Let's see it.
Yeah, this has been pretty impressive to watch from my end because I've seen.
Geez, what is going on here? It's all gibberish to me.
Just ignore that for now.
I have no idea what this game is, so I am just as clueless.
Oh, you haven't
as
seen it yet?
I haven't seen anything.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so it's a pretty simple game, but so this is the main menu. I plan to release it on the App Store eventually.
Okay.
So we can hop into solo here. And this is the world select screen, so I get to select what world you want. This is unfinished, as you can see. That's just a boring snowman.
Wait, I don't think we can see it.
Yeah. It's still in the main menu for me.
Still on the main menu?
Yeah. Oh, now we see it.
You see it?
Yep. Okay, it's
Yep.
good now.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
because it's only sharing the screen of like the first.
Yeah, you need to keep hitting this start thing to update it. I don't know why. I think it must have something to do with being full screen, I guess. I don't know.
I can fix that actually.
Yeah.
One sec.
Okay.
Yeah,
changing up the game
code.
as we speak.
You just need to get rid of this.
Oh,
Okay.
no way. No way. You're able to take it off full screen now?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I think. I hope.
Okay,
Are you
wow.
excited for it?
This is pretty cool stuff.
All right, there we go.
Damn.
All right, this is a little intro.
Box in the middle.
Yeah, I see it now. Oh yeah, I see I see the box in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
weird.
So
Okay, yeah,
So
cool.
is the world select, yeah.
Yeah.
Wild West is the first world. I only have one level at the moment, but here it is. Okay. So you can select your skin. These are temporary skins. Don't worry about those. Yeah. So this is a game. Basically, all you are doing is collecting cash that is coming down, but you have to be careful because like some items might be dangerous and harmful to you, and other things could drop. Like I'm thinking like potions and all sorts of things, and even random things. Omar wants a horse to drop out of the sky.
Yes, I do.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it right now. But it's in very early production. So, but basically with the money you collect, you can spend things at the shop, buy like skins or whatever. And then also there's going to be like a 1v1 game mode as well.
Jeez, that's really cool. How long did this
Okay.
take you to make?
Literally the first line of code I wrote for this project was probably in February. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you haven't even been working on it like the entire time, right? You took breaks.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really impressive to watch because like you started learning code in January, right? Or did you start learning?
December.
Oh, in December. Okay, yeah, you started learning to program in December. So
That's
and then he
crazy.
started on this like 2 months in, and now he's like this far into it, and it looks like a proper game, and it looks really good.
It looks really, really good. Like I'd play that for
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
And the skins, I like the skins. Those are my favorite part of
Yeah.
it. So you mentioned about putting this on the App Store at some point.
Yeah.
What do you got planned for that? When can we expect that to be released?
I'd say probably, I don't know, maybe I still have to learn how to do that.
Right.
So
Okay. You're gonna be spending a little bit money out of your pocket, I think, to put that
yeah,
on the App Store.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
But definitely a couple months at least before it's ready. But the first version, I want to get the first version out on computer, on PC first.
Okay.
And that might be soon, like a month to 2 months.
Okay. Is there anything I can put in the description about
You can
this?
put my TikTok
Your TikTok?
and
Okay.
my YouTube.
Sure.
I just post like updates on the game, so
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can send me those stuff. I'll put that in the description for sure. Omar, what stands out to you most about this game, and how has it been for you helping Matt out on this project?
I mean, like I said, what stands out the most to me is that Matt just started learning programming and he's this far into it. Like when I was like 2 months into it, I was nowhere close to like making a game.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just been blowing my mind. Uh yeah, I think he's got like there's so much like yeah, like he said, there's so many ideas that he can go with this game, so it's gonna be really fun to watch. uh but what was the second question?
How has it been just like helping him out with it?
Oh, I don't know if I've helped him very much. Like I would just
yeah, I
hop
see
in every
that.
now and then.
Solved
Like
many issues.
I like no, I come in, he shows me the game. It's like, oh wow, you've come so far. And then from there he just like solves the problems on his own, and I just like sit there and pretend like I'm helping.
Hey,
Uh,
everybody needs a mentor though, and I'm sure you've helped him out a lot on this.
yeah,
Yes.
if you say so. It's definitely been fun to see him like work through it either way. Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah, I'm excited to see this on the actual App Store and hopefully on Steam.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the
That's
plan. We'll see, but hopefully there's no major setbacks, but it's been pretty, like I haven't had any like issues so far, like coming to this point. Like it's been pretty straightforward and it's just come easy to me. Like I just enjoy doing it and
Right.
learning about it, and I can't relate to the program I'm taking right now in university. So um yeah, this has been very distracting,
I bet.
but
Yeah, it's a good hobby though, and you've learned
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot from it, obviously, and it's terrific. So
Mhm.
thank you. But
it's great.
Yeah,
So yeah,
even if it's not like related to what you're doing in school, and you're keeping like an extra career path open, I'd say. And yeah, I think like I've told you this, Matt, before. Like even if you're not gonna make any money off of it, I think programming is just a useful skill to have in general, because you can just use it for so many things in your day-to-day life. Like he made like a budgeting program for himself just so he could just like just so he could just like
no
keep
longer in use, but
yeah, well, it was in use for a while. It
yeah.
was I'd say it seemed pretty useful. Yeah, when Budget Bot 2 comes out, that
I'll let
one
you
you
know.
might be able to make some money off of it. But yeah.
But,
all
yeah.
right, cool. Yeah, well, I'm excited to see this on the App Store, and see you promoting it a lot, and I think it's going to get a lot of downloads. And yeah, it's really cool what you guys have come up with. So yeah, remember the name, Cash Cowboy.
Cash Cowboy. Coming soon.
Matt's TikTok and YouTube will be in the description below.
What's HD? That's it.
I don't think they can. I don't think the audience can see this, but I'm doing the thing.
Oh yeah, Matt's still sharing his screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here.
The audience knows, I'm
Perfect,
sure. When he says link in the description, I think you guys know at this point.
Yep. I'm thinking we got to do a Jome episode at some point too.
Oh, we
get Jay on as well. People got to know the story of Jome. So
the origins.
The origin story. Yeah. So I think that's got to be in the works probably for the summer for sure. It's got to be on one of the episodes.
Sounds good.
Omar, thank you very much for coming on this last bit of the episode. Really appreciate it.
Always great to be here.
Okay, you'll be back in 2 weeks.
I will be. All right, awesome.
Yeah, you'll be back.
Is that how long it takes?
Every fifth episode? What do you mean, man?
Why is that 2 weeks from now? What episode are we on?
This is episode 43.
43. Oh, is it just because you're busy with school?
I'm just doing
like 5 episodes a week.
I'm doing one a week. I'm doing one a week until the end of the school year ends, and then I'm probably gonna do 2 a week starting that. So it's gonna be a lot sooner every 5 episodes. Then it's gonna be like every 2 weeks. So yeah, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great time talking to you. Great stuff on the Penguins and the Leafs as always. Any final remarks from you before you go?
Thanks for having me, and shout out Omar again for the help.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're also on Spotify. Check us out there. Follow at Unlimited Pod on Instagram as well. We'll be back next week. See you guys later. Take care and peace.